Zach, how are we feeling about Auburn getting Alex Golesh?
I feel pretty good, Brian.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome on into this crossover, Locked on Auburn and Locked on the Portal. I'm Brian Smith with Zach Blackerby. With a little interesting news, the Tigers actually have a new head football coach. We're going to be talking about all of that recruiting going on with it, keeping Cam Coleman, Golesh. What are the long-term expectations? And will Auburn actually have an exciting offense next year? And I think that is probably the most fun thing to talk about. We're going to get into that quite a bit here in just a second. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. All right, Zach. Yay or nay? They're going to score over 30 a game next year. They were just over 26 this year for the record.
Yeah, I'll say more. I'll say more. I mean, just when you look at what he's done, whether as an offensive coordinator or as a head coach, they've done that. His lowest as far as points per game as a head coach was his first year at South Florida. Scored 31.9 points per game, which was good for 33rd in college football. And then as an offensive coordinator, when he was at Tennessee, he scored 39.3 points per game at Tennessee in 21, and then 46 points a game in 2022 when Tennessee had the best offense in college football. So that's what he's done everywhere he's been as a coordinator or as a head coach. He's never had a team that scored under that. And I love because, I mean, I've kind of been mentally prepping of like, okay, how are we going to talk about this with Summerall because he's never been in the SEC before outside of some stuff at Ole Miss. That's not what we're doing. We're talking about Alex Golesh, who has been an offensive coordinator in the SEC. So it gives me more confidence in this transition because we talked about this, right, Brian? Like plan A is you get a guy who's won at a similar level as Auburn, which is why Dillingham was so appealing. It's kind of why I like Drinkwitz. That's why I was higher on James Franklin more so than most people. And then plan B is if you don't get anybody who's done that, which the market didn't really provide a whole lot of that. Plan B is you get a guy who you think can take traits and skills and resume, and then it translates to the next level. This one does that because he's done it as an offensive coordinator in the SEC, and then he's done a pretty solid job as a head coach in the AAC.
Yeah, I would agree. He's coached at UCF, Tennessee, and USF his last three stops. So he knows the state of Tennessee. He's going to know Atlanta for recruiting. He's going to know the entire state of Florida for recruiting. That's going to be beneficial to the Auburn football program. So that brings me to the next question. What are your long-term expectations? Like, were you surprised the more you dug into this? Because there's some good, like, just background trends for Auburn from a historical perspective.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of people that I have okay relationships with, not talk to every week or even every month, but just occasional folks. I mean, you have these in recruiting and just, whether it's, people that have worked at other places or trainers, regional trainers, whatever that might be. I'm shocked at how many people reached out to me and it's like, hey, y'all got a dog. I'm like, oh, great. I'm like, he seems like he's working his tail off, and he's like, yeah, he's a good coach, but an incredible human being. They all add, he's an incredible person, which is good. And you and I have talked about culturally at Auburn, like you need that has to fit in here. But as far as just, I don't know, there's a lot of people that are just truly excited for him, which is interesting. You don't always see that. So I think that's intriguing. So, I mean, as far as like expectations, they keep going up, Brian, the more I learn about this guy. And then the question is, okay, well, like, how does this apply to recruiting? And you look at what he's done, like when he was given an opportunity at the MAC. And then all of a sudden he's got like the #1 recruiting class when he was named recruiting coordinator at, I'm blanking on the school that was at, but they had back-to-back #1 recruiting classes in the MAC when he was there. I mean, anytime this guy gets his hands on something, it seems to turn into gold, at least so far as what's relative
to where he's at.
To that level of competition, right? And so that to me is what Auburn was looking for. It's like, okay, like there's not a clear-cut home run hire who's one of the P4 consistently. So you go and get that next guy that could be it. And Alex Golesh, like it makes sense. It makes sense. And I guess that would have been Toledo where he kind of turned some of the recruiting stuff around.
Well, those are all very good trends. And to that end, like you and I have talked about off air, next year for Auburn, their schedule is not what I would call friendly.
Sure.
But at the same time, I feel a heck of a lot better knowing they got an offensive coach. I believe they're going to keep Cam Coleman. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
They should be able to keep like if you're a wide receiver, running back, or tight end, those numbers you were talking about a minute ago, you're like, okay, I'm good. You know, barring like the meeting just going trash. I don't know why he would if he's
unless there's just some major personality clash, which would be an outlier for this guy, right? I mean, everybody talks about how like easy he is to get along with. Yeah. And like, I mean, what he did this year with Byron Brown, I mean, a solid college football quarterback, it's either the 12th or 13th player in college football history to have a season with 3,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards. It's like, okay, great. Oh, and also he's 7th nationally in yards per pass attempt. Okay, great. Yeah. And so if I'm him, I walk straight to Deuce night and I say, hey, Deuce, this is just between you and me, but you're better than him. You're more talented than him. Just wait. Let me work on getting Cam here. Help me keep Cam here. Help me keep Eric Singleton out of the draft. Help me keep Perry Thompson here. Help me keep Malcolm Simmons here. And let's keep this trend going.
I mean, that's exactly what I would do. I mean, your top guys have to want to play together. And again, if you don't want to play in this system and you're a receiver in particular, why? So yeah, I think that is a very, very good point. And to that, let's talk a little bit about it from the other side of the ball here in just a second. We're also going to be talking about the ability to keep the roster together. They've got good NIL at Auburn. That is next here on this crossover Locked on Auburn and Locked on the Portal. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. World Cup is coming up to North America for the first time since 1994. That is a long time. Yeah. 48 teams for the first time. It's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is not the easiest thing for something like the World Cup.
It is now.
Yeah, well, hopefully, the Game Time app is clutch in this regard because it finally gives you, the fans, an opportunity to go and get some tickets without all the hassle and grab some seats. With Game Time, you can track prices as they drop in real time, get alerts when the seats open, and buy tickets the moment they actually hit the Game Time app. It puts the power back in your hands, the fan, and makes winning the World Cup, going to World Cup games realistic instead of impossible. So just for an example, pick a game, tap on the section, and you have tickets locked in within just a few moments. No confusion, no hunting to find anything at all. And the seat view feature right there from your phone. You can do it. I bought tickets recently on Game Time. It only takes a few clicks. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets. Every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Terms apply. Again, download the app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. We're also brought to you by our friends over at Omaha Steaks. Something that I actually like a lot, Zach. I don't know about you, but I like a good steak. So the holidays are always a little more fun when you've got the right stuff and the perfect gift, and Omaha Steaks makes it easy and very simple to do. Whether you're treating yourself or helping out some friends and family with memorable Omaha Steaks delivered, handcrafted right to the door. And this week is the best time to jump in because Cyber Sale is here and the deals are huge. Even if you just want to get some tender steaks, maybe it's some burgers, maybe you want to get a few side items, whatever it may be, comfort meals, they can all be done with Omaha Steaks. Save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off and an extra 20% off select favorite items during the Cyber Sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout, omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See the site for details. Thank you once again for checking out Locked on Auburn and Locked on the Portal. I am Brian Smith with Zach Blackerby. Two guys that are pretty enthused about the opportunity on offense for the Tigers. Let's talk a little defense too. Okay. I think they're going to keep Cam and some of these guys, like, again, that's low-hanging fruit. That offense should be pretty exciting. What are you hearing on the defensive side of the ball? Anything on assistants, or is it too early? Am I over my skis here? Or what are you hearing?
Yeah, I think it's too early. I think there's going to be obviously a ton of turnover. It might be a clean sweep. I've heard that. I don't know if it's like official or not, but
Gotcha.
it seems to be on the offense. The defense, I wouldn't be shocked if it was everyone but DJ. And it does seem like there's some conversation on the DJ Durkin situation as well. So we'll kind of let that sit for now, and I'm sure you and I will chat again in a few days, and I think we'll have all of that answered pretty quickly. So, but Brian, like I think DJ Durkin went to bed after the Iron Bowl thinking he was about to be Auburn's next head coach, and then he woke up and something changed, and that would be tough for anyone to deal with. So I don't know. Let's just see what happens. As far as players go, I mean, a lot of your studs are going to the draft, right? Like Keldrick is going to the draft. And then some of these older guys, being out of eligibility. So you look at guys who are either draft eligible or could possibly leave, like Xavier Atkins. He was asked after the Iron Bowl, and he didn't flat out say, yes, I'm staying. I'm not going to even look in the way of the transfer portal. He didn't say that, but man, the way he talked about it, I'd be surprised if he left. He seems to really love it here. And so, I mean, what an incredible season he had at linebacker. Kayan Lee's another one where you and I were talking about him going into the season. Like, this could be a guy who finds his way on to, as a draft pick. He did not have a good year. I still think he will have good traits that the NFL would be interested in. But we'll see if he stays or enters the portal. Like anything he does, it will not shock me. Go pro, portal, or stay. I could see all of those things happening. So that's certainly one. And then Jay Crawford, I think, is one of two guys who you just can't replace. Like, there's not going to be another guy in the portal as good as him. But I'm outrageously high on Jay Crawford. You know this, and I know you're pretty high on Jay as well. I don't think anybody's higher on Jay Crawford than I am, though. But I think he's a guy where, like, you've got to make sure he feels comfortable. He just finished his true sophomore year, so not draft eligible yet. So that's that. Him and Cam Coleman are the two guys where, like, you've got to do whatever it takes to keep those guys.
I'm curious. Do you think Auburn will go all in? Because no, I don't care what scheme you run. D-line is D-line. But you ain't got D-line, and it's over, brother. Their young D-line group is really good. Malik's a sophomore. He'll be a junior next year.
Right.
You got 3 freshmen, defensive linemen, like on the inside. Like, any chance, like, I think they'll all stay. If you keep Durkin, if you don't get, like, if you give whoever it is those pieces, is there any chance this defense is not really good? Like, they're going to be bigger. They're going to lose Falk. Don't get me wrong. That hurts, but it is what it is. It's time for him to go pro. I get it.
But you got Jared Smith coming back, and you've got Amaris Williams. So, like, you do have a plan coming back there. As far as, like, will the defense be as good next year? I'm not sure. There's a lot of variables. There's a ton of variables, from coaches,
yes, sir,
to staffing decisions. And look, I think some of these guys are getting paid a lot of money. And is Golesh going to come in here and his staff, or is he going to think that it's worth that percentage of what Auburn's bankroll is? I don't know. That's going to be an evaluation thing too. So some of these guys, it may be a mutual parting of ways just because the number doesn't make sense anymore. And that's going to be something that might look bad, but that's just the nature of today's age of college football, especially when a new regime is coming in. So too early to really have an opinion on defense. Obviously on offense, like, it can't get worse than what we saw this year, especially with, his track record there.
Last question for you. With all the transformation, coaching staff, players, and all that, what has been the at least first wave of the vibe from the Auburn fan base with Golesh coming to Auburn?
Yeah, I think a lot of people were kind of in a similar boat as I was. Now, of course, there's going to be some people that hate it, right? And like they would have hated any of the realistic candidates, right? because there were arguments against all of them. You and I had that discussion. And then I think most people are in the same boat as me. Or like maybe they didn't look at Golesh too much because the Auburn media didn't really talk that much about Golesh. And the more you learn about this guy, the more I really like him. I mean, you look at these stats that we just talked about and how like his nationally relevant Tennessee was with him, and then where USF was over these past few years after being awful. They won 4 games in 3 years, the 3 years prior to him being there. That's crazy. Right. That's insane. So I think most people are probably in the same camp as me, where it's like, okay, interesting. Oh, he did this. Oh, he did this. There's stuff coming about how his story, how he and his family moved over from Moscow when he was a kid and he was just a grinder every step of the way. And it's like, yeah, you kind of want guys like that leading your program.
Yeah, I think that the guy lived in Tampa part of the time that he was there, and
Sure.
And I'm just like, this could be very interesting because that's a lot of offense, man. What they did at Tennessee, I don't know how long it'll take him to get players at USF, but it's Florida, and he got them pretty quick. Like the stat, 3,000 passing yards, 1,000 rushing yards for your quarterback. I don't care what level that's at, Zach. That's going to be a selling. I mean, like just talking to Deuce.
Yeah.
How would it not be?
Right. Or heck, I mean, with what we saw from Vandy and Alabama, like I think Ashton would be fine.
Oh, like Ashton fits the offense too, 100%.
Yeah. Or, I mean, this is today's age of college football. Byron Brown has a year left.
It's not out of the question, brother.
Not out of the question. And like, look, I'm not calling for this. Like, I think it's best for Auburn if Deuce fits into this offense, right? I mean, you're higher on Deuce than anybody. Like his upside is tremendous. But if for whatever reason he gets poached in the portal and somebody tampers and they, give a crazy amount of money to Deuce and he is to leave, if you're telling me a backup option, one, Ashton Daniels I'm comfortable with, but you still have to fill the quarterback room. Byron Brown, come on. Why not?
I wouldn't be a hater if I was an Auburn fan on that again. 3,000 passing.
Not a bad backup plan, Brian. Not a bad backup plan at all.
Zach, tell everybody where they can find your work, my friend.
Yes, Locked on Auburn, available wherever you listen to the portal. You can listen to Locked on Auburn, and of course, vice versa. And all socials are at Z Blackerby across all socials. But like, subscribe, all that good stuff.
You can find the Portal Podcast wherever you get your pods. Apps all over the place. Same thing with Blackerby. X. Yep. It's a lot of fun, man. We're about to go into the crazy season. Auburn's certainly.
Dude, you're not going to get any sleep over the next 2 months, my guy.
No, I'm not. This has been a Locked On crossover, the Portal and Locked On Auburn.